War, a series of battles caused by ever-growing tension between countries that eventually breaks out. While its fate is often judged by predominance of countries in such aspects of technology, resources, and population, it is usually forgotten that some other factors do affect as much as the former do. The underestimation toward their enemies based on ethnicity, culture bias, often resulting from their own sense of national superiority. Those who are not so much into historical events of war might wonder if those factors that seem so absurd because it is too human do affect the tide of war. That being said, this short film will explore the question, to what extent did underestimation affect the tide of war? The most notable underestimation between countries may be across the western and eastern border. With a prolonged period of disconnection in exchange, countries in each side of the continent were unaware of how developed the other side was. As a matter of fact, either side had to taste great bitterness of defeat at least once. One of the major events is the Opium War between Qing Dynasty and the British Empire. When encountered British troops on the coastline of its territory, the Qing, which self-considered to be the center of the world, sent out martial art troops against guns and cannons, believing that the metaphysical qi would make them as strong as metal and thus defeat the foreigners. Unfortunately and predictably, its consequence was a total defeat in addition to handing over a portion of its land. As another example, a battle in Singapore between British and the Japanese. This event is often considered one of the major events in which the Western power greatly falls due to underestimation toward Asians living on the archipelago. Here are words from a young British Army officer which clearly reflects how British Army thought of the Japanese. I do hope we are not getting too strong in Malaya, because if so, the Japanese may never attempt a landing. Of course, just like what happened during the Opium War, although the positions have changed, the Great Britain had to abandon their colony, and this inexcusable defeat made Sir Winston Churchill say, "I put the telephone down. I was thankful to be alone. In all the war, I never received a more direct shock." To people of this generation, this may sound somewhat absurd, because in the world of global society, we, the countries, more or less know how respective current status are. But if we take into account that those events occurred when the globalization was just in its infant stage, we come to realize the act of underestimation might have had a major effect on the tide of battle, or even on war.